Hi there, greetings and salutations, and happy Game 2, Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. My name is Jake Query, that is Derek Schultz, and it is Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. This is episode number what, Derek?
235.
235?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I guess you're right.
We are rocking and rolling, man.
Well, and let's be honest, that is very, very little to do with the two of us, and more to do with the great sponsors that are on board with us, like Bailey & Wood, by the way, the presenting sponsor of this program. We are always happy to have Bailey & Wood and represent their brand. BAWFG.com is their website. Also, Chateau Kitchens. Once you buy that house with the best available rate from Bailey & Wood, and maybe there's some renovation to take place, Chateau Kitchens is there for you. They will absolutely take care of it. And then, of course, you're going to want to have everybody over for a housewarming party. You can get your catering right there from Hoagies and Hops, which we have each and every week.
Yum.
We will, again, enjoy that. Some people are going to want a cold beer, no problem. Get one from Chili Water. Happy to board with that. And then the kids are going to be there as well, and so you want to make sure, and for the adults, that they are refreshed with milk from the American Dairy Association of Indiana. So we are happy to have everybody on board and to talk to you about the fact the Pacers now 1-0 up on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Game 2 coming up imminently and shortly after this broadcast. Derek, reality is this. I think Game 1 about as well as Indiana could play. That was a complete performance from beginning to end. Now the real challenge comes in trying to take complete control of the series, which I think they can do if they get you're playing with house money at this point.
Yeah.
But man, it'd be nice to get Game 2.
Yeah, it would be nice to get Game 2, and I think you have to be encouraged by all the road success that we've seen. God, just last night the Knicks went to Boston and won. Denver went to Oklahoma City and won. So this is not something new. You know, it's very difficult to win on the road in the playoffs. But I think, Jake, if you're looking at this from a Pacers perspective, the reason why you feel comforted in Game 1 is because, kind of like Milwaukee, you still created a lot of the shots that you wanted. Right. You created a lot of the shots that you wanted. Now, it's dependent on those shots falling, but you created the shots that you wanted, and that's all you can do. You got to control what you can control. And the other thing is they were even on the boards. You know, we talked about going into this series that the Cavs were a much, much better, especially on the offensive glass, rebounding team than Milwaukee, and that's been a bugaboo for the Pacers all year. So if you can keep it close to even on the boards, I think you're going to give yourselves a chance. Now, on the flip side of that, shooting variance-wise, Pacers had one of their best shooting games of the season from three-point range, 19 threes. Cavs had one of their worst. Those are both going to go like this, right?
And with that, now the rebounding, because of what you're talking about, when you hit 53% of your shots, 40 whatever percent from three-point range, there are fewer opportunities for offensive rebounds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are fewer rebound or defensive rebounds in the case of Cleveland. So, therefore, the rebounding disparity maybe is a little askew. Secondly, if you were going to play glass half empty, and I'm not saying that that's what we need to do, but you've got to be realistic. When you look at it, Derek, you had a fine performance. You shot the ball well. Cleveland's down Darius Garland, and yet you still were down 1 inside of 4 minutes to go in the game. So There are areas clearly that they need to continue to clamp down. I think Indiana's strongest suit, the Pacers' strongest suit, the thing that makes them the best, their offensive efficiency, I think, comes from two areas. Number one, their ball movement is as good as anybody in the league. Yeah. Cleveland's is very good as
100%.
well. But the Pacers' ball movement and the way that they whip the ball around, and at any point, and this is what makes the Pacers unique, with the exception of Ben Shepherd, who we know can shoot if he's spotted up, but he's struggled lately. But with the exception of Ben Shepherd, virtually every player on the Pacers roster, when the ball comes to them, the defense has to jump out and respect it, right? And so, therefore, they have better shooters at all areas than most teams. But I think defensively teams just get worn down, Derek, because you're having to chase that ball around so much. Part of the Pacers' offensive efficiency comes from the fact that teams – by the fourth quarter are lagging a half a step behind because they're so worn out from just running around the entire time.
Yeah, even a team as deep as Cleveland, because
Correct.
Cleveland rolls pretty deep. But I think really, Jake, I don't think it's a secret. The formula to Pacers' success and why they've been just so really dominant so far in the playoffs, I mean, God, they've won 5 out of 6. Right? They've won. Now, it's been a weird 5 out of 6, including the Bucks rally and then the near collapse in game number 2, but they've won 5 out of 6 here. When Nesmith, Nembhard, and Turner are this efficient and effective, they're almost impossible to beat. I mean, they combined for 53 points on 27 shots.
Yeah.
53 points on 27 shots. They were 11 of 15 from three. Now, you're not going to get that every game, obviously. But if you can continue to get those guys to lock in offensively with everything else that they provide, because, look, and anything that you get offensively from Aaron Nesmith is a bonus. And really, anything that you get from Nembhard offensively is a bonus.
He let him.
He couldn't shoot all year. You know, I mean, he struggled with his shot all year from the outside. He was like a 30%, wasn't he, 30% shooter or something like that from the outside? And he's lighting it up. Now, Turner is known more for his offense, right? He's a defensive player. He can do that too as well and be a rim protector in the whole deal. But I think really that's the formula. That's what evens this out, is that there's so much attention that you have to focus on the star players. So Halliburton and Siakam, that when you have these other guys eating the way that they are, that's got to be extremely frustrating for an opposing team.
Can I give you an unpopular opinion?
Sure. You give a lot of unpopular opinions on this show.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, sirs. It's not.
Oh, I love it.
No.
I love it. It's great. Love the sirs.
You know what?
Yeah.
I need to. Should I just?
Do you like what the Hallie?
No.
The hip hop song. They invited that guy in.
Yeah, they introduced him. They introduced him at the game, and you could tell that no one had.
Is he a big deal? I have no idea.
Can you see?
I don't follow.
How about
anymore.
that?
Yeah. Jake has sold a couple of those, right? And you get a cut that goes into your LLC?
No, I simply came up with the idea. But there it is right there. The Why Not Indiana shirt.
Yeah.
Now available from the shop in Broadrupple, I believe it's theshopindy.com, right? I simply came up with the slogan, Why Not Indiana, and they did the rest. They put together the shirt, and they put it in the old FloJo, perfect for the playoffs.
Yeah,
And
beautiful.
if they go into the Eastern Conference Finals, even more perfect.
You get nothing out of that?
No, I just gave them the idea. I'm a nice guy, Derek.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if I believe that. Another thing to touch on is I know that we've run into another Tuesday show where the Pacers are playing like right after you watch the show, or maybe some of you, if you're our real loyal listeners, maybe you're coming even after the fact, and the Pacers have already won Game 2 to go up 2-0. Knock on wood.
If they're up 2-0, what better way to celebrate than with a Why Not Indiana?
That's right. Cavs have a very, very tough injury hand that they're going to have to deal with here with Evan Mobley's ankle, Darius Garland, who obviously missed Game 1, still dealing with the toe, and then now DeAndre Hunter with the thumb. So they're the walking wounded.
Those are two key pieces too. Mobley and Garland. It goes without saying, but Mobley and Hunter defensively are key pieces for them.
Yeah,
Mobley's,
for sure. I mean,
Mobley's outstanding,
and you want to be at full strength. And I think, look, at the end of the day, Pacers fans want the Pacers to win, right, at any cost. But at the end of the day, you don't want to go through, I think, what happened last year, where everything that the Pacers did was a yeah, but. You know what I mean? Yeah, they beat the Bucks, yeah, but, and then they beat the Knicks, yeah, but, with the injury situation. But man, what a stretch of injury luck, not only for their opponents but for themselves, that the Pacers really haven't had to deal with much the last 2 years.
They did in the regular season.
They had Mathurin, right? They had Mathurin last year. He didn't play in the playoffs.
In the regular season, the Pacers
they did. No, for sure.
Derek, you could make the argument. My point is this. Yes, it is true. If you are a fan of another franchise, you can say that Indiana has been blessed this year by good health in the postseason. Except for that Indiana realistically is probably a 2 or 3 seed, except for that they had to play the first quarter of the season without Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah, so that cuts both ways. But still, you would rather have those guys available in December than you would right now in May than you would in December. So that's part of it.
Of course, it doesn't matter because they would have had home court advantage in this round, and now they've taken home court advantage.
Yeah. What do you think of Kenny Atkinson's comments, the Cavs head coach?
Which comments?
I mean, he was kind of alluding to the fact that he thought
they were physical.
They were overly physical, and they thought they got a tough whistle, I think, in Game 1.
Coaches are going to massage those things.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, to be fair, I saw a lot of people that were like, he's whining, and I never really look at it as whining as much as it's strategy. Rick Carlisle, after Game 2 in New York, basically spent like 20 minutes complaining and whining about the officiating. Do you remember that last year?
Yeah.
That was a big deal. And Pacers won the series, right?
You're right, yeah. And
it didn't hurt. It didn't harm them.
Let me tell you this in terms of the series. I want you to give for me, Derek, in historically speaking, fact or real life or fiction. Give me 3 great love stories.
Ooh, 3 great love. I mean, like platonically, because we both have significant others. I mean, this show has been a love story, really, for 15 years. There's a reason why. What has, like, we love each other. We're best buds, and we care about each other. I was talking to you on the phone late last night. It was the last thing I did before I went to bed. I was in my jams.
What?
And I was talking to you last night. I was talking to you about the 500. We were just going back and forth, just two best buds talking Indy 5. A lot of fun. So that was a love story. Let's see. What else? Love story. Number 2 love story. Romeo and Juliet.
Love story people,
Love
by
story.
the way, invite each other to their respective birthday parties, but that's okay.
Pam and Jim, The Office.
Oh, okay,
Love story.
sure.
You're not an Office fan, are you?
No.
Yeah, you're not an Office guy.
I'm not opposed to it. I've just never gotten
Yeah.
into it.
I don't know. Just named a few.
Scarlett and whatever from Gone with the Wind, wasn't that a love story?
Oh, Clark Gable.
Harry and Sally.
Okay, yep. Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan. Yep.
All of those are high on the love story list. Let me tell you another love story. Jake Query
Okay.
and what Aaron Nesmith does for the Pacers.
Yeah.
I could not. My favorite Pacers have always been the auxiliary players, right?
Yeah.
The Derek McKees, the Dwayne Farrells,
The glue
Sam
guys.
Mitchells, the glue
Right?
guys.
Yeah.
The Pacers in this roster, when they put this team together, and they knew that they had something in Tyrese Halliburton, and they loved Andrew Nembhard, the one from very high up within the Pacers front office, they said to me, the one thing this team needs is just a dog, right? A Jay Crowder type, a Bobby Portis type. Aaron Nesmith is like the nicest person in the NBA. But in terms of his on-court style, Aaron Nesmith 100% is a dog. He does every little thing that you need. He blocks a three-point shot and then streaks down the floor to finish by hitting a three-point shot. He's an open shooter that can knock it down with not a lot of time and a quick release on the wing. He does every little single thing that a team needs, and that guy, unlike you, has no ego and needs no massage of ego, no verification.
ego.
He just goes out, does his job, is always on time, and boom, when you need it most, he's there. I absolutely love Aaron Nesmith. And Andrew Nembhard has played really well as well, and that's a guy that I've been hard on. But in terms of right now, yes, Tyrese Halliburton and his assist-to-turnover ratio is unbelievable, and he's now a better defensive player. And Nembhard's arrival is a big thing. But as much as anything for this run right now for the Pacers, it is based upon the glue work of the Aaron Nesmith factor. I absolutely love him, and I think he's a key part of the Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, winning teams and championship-level teams especially always have those guys.
Correct.
And the ones that are, the teams that win 45 games and then flame out in round one are the ones that don't, for the most part. And I've seen Kevin Pritchard get his flowers a lot with the Halliburton and Siakam trade. Siakam trade has aged tremendously. And even the Halliburton one, even though, I've sort of become, I was such a Domas Sabonis criticizer, now I've almost become a defender of his. I don't think their failures in Sacramento are Sabonis-related. Sabonis has been great in Sacramento. I think it's everything else around him. But it was time to move on. It was time for the Pacers to move on from Domas. And so those are both great trades. But the Pacers aren't here without taking Andrew Nembhard in the second round and making the trade with Malcolm. I would take Nesmith straight up for Malcolm Brogdon right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was a throw-in in that deal, ultimately. So...
Well, I mean,
it's these other savvy moves.
Obi
that they've
Toppin.
made. Yeah, Toppin. They traded 2 2s for.
Yeah.
I mean, that essentially was like a free agent sign.
And he's been a really good player for them.
And the Pacers aren't going to use their 2 2s. They've got a roster crunch kind of as it is. So
now the other thing, Derek, that becomes critical, and we're cart before the horse here, and there's plenty of time to talk about this. But what have we learned in the last 5 wins? This team absolutely 150%, no matter what it costs, need to re-sign Miles Turner. Can you imagine this franchise next year without Miles Turner?
He's been so good in the playoffs, too, so far. I mean, he had a disastrous Game 3 in Milwaukee, but outside of that, he's been excellent. And I don't know. He's become – it's hard for me, Jake, because I remember Miles Turner when he was 19. We're old enough now where we're starting to follow these guys their entire careers.
Well, I've done that for the cycle.
Yeah, but I'm saying like Vince is like Miles' age, right? So it's not, he can't, and this isn't a knock on Vince. Somebody that young can't really, it's weird. It's weird to see someone's entire character arc, for lack of a better term. We've seen the entire character arc of Miles Turner here, where he gets thrust into being the guy because of the Paul George situation. It was way too early for him to be considered the guy. The fan base kind of turned on him. I think Miles did some things and said some things that he probably regrets too. Like, that was a two-way street as far as that was concerned. But we were also convinced that the end was coming for Miles Turner. He's going to get traded. He's going to get traded. He's going to get traded. And he just never did. And to see it kind of come to fruition like this, where he's finding the promise that he always showed. Is Miles Turner a superstar player in the NBA? No. Is he even an all-star player in the NBA? No. But he's a really good key piece and a great leader and a great guy in the community. Like, Miles Turner checks a lot of the boxes that you want for a core piece, and he's been a core piece of this team.
What was the last Pacers move that didn't go their way?
I think they made a mistake. Which offseason was that? I think going into the 21-22, before they made the Halliburton deal. Now, they made the Halliburton deal in January, I think, of that year, right? January of 22? I think I have that right. They should have blown it up that offseason. They still rolled into 21-22 with that, essentially that same team. And I thought, and they blamed it on injuries. Remember, because they didn't have TJ Warren, and I think Brogdon was banged up and all that. They spent the offseason kind of saying, whoa, we weren't healthy. That's why we had a bad year. And everybody was like, yeah, man, like, even if you're healthy, this course is not going anywhere. It's not good enough. So I think that philosophy, the second that things got better for the Pacers is when they decided that they were tired of winning 42 games.
Right.
That was the second that things got better for the Pacers.
And they also said, we're going to have to plant a seed in the dirt, and so therefore it's going to be dirty for a while, and please bear with us while we water it. And it came quick.
The low point was Mr. Simon saying, I like our little team, and that would have been December of 21, right? And then the high point is, right now and everything else. And then it just, things started, the fan base really turned on the franchise right after that. I wrote something for Indy Monthly, not that my voice matters, but I just kind of ripped the Pacers apart. And it's weird to think that was fewer than 3 years ago because of how much has changed for them since. But that's what you have to do. I mean, they could have just kind of kept things humming along and churning out 6 seeds and first-round playoff sweeps, and they decided to try. But trying doesn't always work. I mean, Sacramento tried too, right? And it didn't work for them, but it clearly has worked for the Pacers.
I like Sacramento.
I feel for them. Of the worst professional sports franchises of my lifetime, they're in the top 3.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They've
Easily.
They've been in the Western Conference Finals in their lifetime.
I'm telling you, in my lifetime,
they were a gambling scandal away from going to the NBA Finals.
In my lifetime, they are one of the 3 worst run franchises. Okay. The Colorado Rockies are one of them too, and they've been to a World Series.
The Washington Wizards?
Yeah, they'd be up there too.
The Washington Commanders?
Yeah, Commanders are just in the NFC Championship game. Commanders in my lifetime won a Super Bowl.
True.
Actually, they won 2 in my lifetime.
Okay, New York Jets, although they went to the...
I mean, Jets would be way up there. Jets would be way up there.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, the Knicks are probably one... I mean, it's hard because the Knicks had a really great decade from like 89 to 2000. The Knicks were great. So it's hard to kind of put them in that category. The Raiders.
The Raiders.
The Raiders would be there for me.
I don't follow hockey enough to know. There have to be some.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about 3 major sports that I follow. So baseball, NBA basketball, and the NFL.
I guess where we differ, and not to turn this into a defend the Sacramento Kings show, I know that they have been mediocre at best. I don't think of them as poorly run, though. I think of them as not having great advantages, but I don't think of them as being inept.
The only team to me that I think would have been worse this century and a lot of that has to do with the fact they had the Bibby, Weber, Vlade Divac teams, right? And technically in this century, that was the very early 2000s, is Charlotte. Charlotte has drafted horribly. That's a poorly run organization.
So what about the Pelicans, which is the same?
Yeah, but there's still like, I mean, I don't know.
But the Pelicans
in that group.
The Pelicans is Charlotte.
In that group, though, I'm Bobcats into the Hornets, right? That's how it was.
Correct,
and then the Pelicans were the old Hornets.
Correct.
I have that right?
That's correct.
It's weird.
The Rex Chapman, J.R. Reed Hornets are now the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah.
The Charlotte Bobcats, that's a disaster.
Bobcats, yeah. That'd be way, 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 way up there. I mean, there are a lot. NBA probably has the worst run ones, right? I mean, I put the Pirates up there, but the Pirates, when I was a little kid, were great. Doug Drabeck and Bonds and Andy Van Slyke and Bobby Bonilla. I mean, they were on the cusp of the World Series several years.
I mean, you can't say the Marlins because they won 2 World Series, but
they would be there.
Deal.
They would be there. I mean, I'm 42, so you're talking. It's a pretty big sample size that you're talking. Time for our Hoagie and Hero of the Week. You ready?
I am. I'm ready for this.
It is brought to you by our friends at Hoagies and Hops. Thank
By the
you
way,
to Christina.
Sean, I'd like to point out that I'm technically a kind of a hero too. Sean pointed out that when they were cleaning the studio the other day, one person's side was very clean, the other was full of food remnants.
Oh, well.
Go figure. One of us is an adult, the other's an 8-year-old.
It's good. Thank you to Christina. She gave me 6 pounds of Cheese Whiz for a friend gathering that we had on Saturday night. So
much about love story.
Yeah. We had a fundraiser at school, and we hosted the after party at our house on Saturday night, which sucked because it rained, but it was a great time. So we had like 80 hot dogs, whiz, bacon bits. We had Hoagies and Hops dogs at the after party, and it was a huge hit. So we're just crushing beers and crushing Hoagies and Hops dogs. And also,
did you enjoy any?
I enjoyed plenty
juicy?
of chili water brew beer. Actually, I had a couple of Built to Lasts. I didn't have any Loose Juicies that night.
Loose Juicy's great.
But this is the Loose Juicy. This is a really good beer from Chili Water Brewing.
Double dry hopped IPA with the Dancing Bears on it.
I would say, like, look, this is, it's a double IPA, right? So if you're not an IPA person, you might not be for this. But if you're an IPA person,
but as a subtle hop though, it's not. It doesn't.
But this is a much like I don't even know how to describe it because I'm not Alexis. I'm not like a beer connoisseur who's their brewer over there. But it's like a clean IPA. Where I'm drinking it as an IPA guy, and it's not like weighing me down. I don't know. That's the best way that I could explain it. But this here is their custom dog, like we had last week as well. I just had hot dogs on the mind, but you can get a Philly Freedom dog. Check out their menu, hoagiesandhops.com, all kinds of dogs. So don't just think about the cheesesteaks and think about the Sandos. Think about the dogs as well over there at Hoagies and Hops. And then the Loose Juicy beer at Chili Water Brewing. My hero of the week is a former Pacer. You want to guess who? Who's still playing?
Is he still in the playoffs?
Yep.
Was he traded from the Pacers?
Yes. Wait. Yeah, right? Was he? Hold on. Let me verify that.
No. He was not traded, I don't believe. No, he was traded. He was traded for...
Did they get like a draft pick for him? What did they get for him?
Like nothing.
You know who I'm talking about? I mean, they gave him away.
Traded to Philadelphia because he came in and told Chad Buchanan that he probably was not going to re-sign at the end of the year.
Yeah, 3-team deal, Sixers and Spurs.
A lightning and a bottle shooter.
I don't remember what they got for him ultimately, but Buddy Hield, waiting almost a decade to actually win a playoff series, and he finally got his opportunity, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that he was insanely good in Game 7. 33 points. That was a team high, better than Steph.
He only missed 2 shots, didn't he?
12 of 15 shooting, 9 of 11 from 3. A great personality and a great teammate. And I'll always appreciate the fact that he was part of what started the turnaround for this team.
For sure.
He was. Because, when Halliburton came here, he was still, 23? He was still young. Not even 23. I think he was 22, right? He was born in 2000. He came in here in 22. And Buddy Hield just kind of brought like a laid-back sort of, fun feeling to the Pacers. The Pacers were just so stale. They were so boring and stale. And, no offense to like Sabonis and Brogdon, but God, right? That was a boring team.
Compared to the one you have now.
Yeah, they were just, they were boring. And those guys are highly intelligent guys, and they were great. Sabonis especially is a great basketball player, but they're just boring. And Buddy Hield is fun, and he's fun to watch. 3-point gunners are fun.
When he's hot,
that's essentially what he is. He's pound for pound one of the probably 50 best shooters ever. Seriously, I'm dead serious.
No, that's
just
fair.
for that one skill, pound for pound, he's probably one of the better ones that has ever shot a basketball. He does one thing, and he does it very, very well. But I'm happy for him. He seems like a good guy, and he's obviously ingrained himself very well there at Golden State. And again, man, this is a league where it's all about experience and been there, done that. And you saw it in the Houston series. Every time Houston was like in a position of success, they failed. They tightened up and failed, and they just you don't know what you don't know, right?
By all account,
I'm a big believer in that.
By all account, and everybody I've ever talked to, Buddy Hield, great teammate. Teammates liked him. Support staff liked him. Good guy.
Good dude. Hoagiesandhops.com for catering.
Okay, no, hoagiesandhops.com. And I look forward, by the way,
Loose Juicy,
to delivering Hoagies and Hops to, as part of my radio show, to a lucky listener. We're going to deliver them and get them set for the race coming up just for the race. Yep.
Are you doing the Are you doing the sandwich trays?
I'm not familiar with what it is that I'm taking.
Christina has sandwich trays.
Well,
you
yeah,
can order
right
them
here.
in advance.
The catering menu's right here.
Hoagiesandhops.com. Awesome. Get your cooler set.
Corporate luncheons, game viewing parties,
You're doing a patio party.
fundraisers, group meetings.
And you're not going to the race. Get that thing set. Sandos. Don't worry about, burgers and stuff. Nah. Potatoes, meh. Sandos.
I got it all right.
You can get Nan's potato salad if you want, but Sandos, Nan's potato salad, dip,
How about the
hummus,
relish tray?
all that stuff. Absolutely delicious.
Shredded salad bowls?
Hoagiesandhops.com. Yeah, I like the pickle sandwiches where you get it's a regular Hoagies and Hops sandwich, but instead of bread, they just put it in a giant pickle.
I mean, they got everything here.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what she's done.
It's the best place on earth.
It is.
I don't think that's an overstatement.
No, it's
yeah,
really
it's the
good.
greatest place on earth. We come back. The month of May is here. Jake is excited. Grand Prix coming up this weekend to kind of kick things off. You did the mini, right? You didn't go to Barber, right?
Correct.
Okay. We'll talk about that as well. But best sports month of the year. So we'll transition from Pacers to Racers when we come back. It's Query and Schultz, brought to you by Bailey & Wood Financial Group here on the ISC Sports Network.
Tonight.
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC!
Nice snap.
Mortgage is a snap! Duh!
Bailey & Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back. Bailey & Wood presents Query and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network alongside Jake. I'm Derek. 855-350-HOME.
Our shirts kind of match. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I got an ISC logo on mine.
I got to sit back. It
Back
looks
from
like
the
I've
old
got
days.
a gut, doesn't it?
No, you look fine. You look good. You look good.
I know, but like it's the way that the seat.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I've been hitting the gym pretty hard because it's swimsuit season.
Okay.
BAWFG.com for Bailey & Wood Financial Group.
I'd like to know where you're swimming.
JCC. And also, we got some friends at the Rivy now.
Oh, the Rivy's great.
Yeah, but we still have to do invite because we're going to do next year. We've been waiting because Rivy, because they're just so amazing and inclusive, they up their registration fee again.
It's a little expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absurd.
The water slide's gone though, right?
But our friends are there. James's friends are there. We can walk to Rivy, so we will, begrudgingly. We've really enjoyed. We've been at the JCC 10 years, but it's about James and all his buddies and friends are over there. So we'll eventually be Rivy members, but we'll be relying on invites.
I worked there for a summer. It was 2 summers. Loved it.
Yeah,
at the Rivy.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
So is Bailey Wood Financial Group. If you want to get pre-approval for that home mortgage, BAWFG.com. You want to refi, 855-350-HOME, 19 Indiana branch locations. Mike Wood and his team, 5-star customer service, and we appreciate them being presenting sponsors of the show. Are we in a position now where And I understand that Indy is a very different race than the other races on the schedule. But, we've seen a lot of parity 2 through 15. There's been no parity at the top. I mean, Alex Palou's winning every week.
He's on another level
winning
right
every
now.
week.
Yes.
Is it folly to pick anybody else? And obviously he has a great track record in Indy. Is it folly to pick anybody else right now just because he's that hot?
No, he is clearly the front runner for the Indy 500. Now, there's still a race between the Sancio Grand Prix, which is this weekend on the road course, but let's focus on the 500.
Which he's won the last 2.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
The 500 itself, I mean, Derek, there's a whole different animal when it comes to the oval and everything that goes into it, right? But the reality is that because Alex Palou already has history of running well on the oval, number one, let's get to that. Number two, he's with a great team in Chip Ganassi Racing that's already going to give him a fast car. I think one of the big storylines is going to be Honda versus Chevrolet. Which one has straight line speed. We have seen in the last few years at the end of the race, there has been disparity between the breakaway speed between the Chevrolet and the Honda. Fuel efficiency can come into play, advantage Honda. That's one of the storylines. I think when you look at it realistically, without having gone in for practice yet and seen those things, the favorite is Palou. And then right behind him, and kind of on the same tier, would be, I think you got to put Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, because they drive for Roger Penske, and then, Pata O'Ward, because he's been knocking on the door, and then his teammate Kyle Larson. I think all of those are in contention to be able to enjoy the greatest tradition in all of sports, and I'm talking about the swig of milk that comes with winning the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Did you see, Derek, because to your point, I was watching the IndyCar race on Sunday in Barber. They had an ad on Fox for a beer, and the beer ad is 2 guys sitting next to one another, and one of them says, we need to enjoy this beer, but, by law, we can't enjoy the beer during the commercial. We have to wait until after. And the other says, really? Well, then count it down. He says, okay, fine. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then the commercial ends as if they're about to swig their beer. Right then, Fox cut to just a quick promo for the Indy 500 that showed Joseph Newgarden drinking his milk.
Nice.
I mean, I don't know if it was good timing or if it was coincidence or whatever else, but it was pretty perfect.
That's funny. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
And I don't want you to get in trouble here. Has it been boring? Has this season been boring? Some of the drivers have complained that there's just no passing so far.
Here's the challenge that IndyCar faces, and they're aware of this. The reality is that IndyCar is a sport about innovation as well as driver talent. They're driving cars that they've had for a long time. Now, they've put in the hybrid unit. That was to kind of create that innovation and create different challenge. But I think to a great extent, these teams and these drivers have kind of figured these cars out. They've gone now 3 races. They've gone the longest stretch without a caution since 1986. You have the same guy that's been dominating because Palou is that special a talent. Is it boring? I don't know if I'd go that far. Is it lacking drama to this point? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think they're well aware of the fact that they need a splash of that.
Good timing, glass half full, good timing for this race in this month, because if you need something to breathe some life into the series, it's this month because everything revolves around what happens at Indy. But I just found that interesting that some of the drivers have, Alexander Rossi complained about it on the podcast, and we all know the thing about yellows. You don't want wreck fest, what I mean? You don't want 14 yellows, but you like to sprinkle those in there just to, kind of cycle through a little bit and clip Palou's wings. I think more than anything else, right? Just kind of even the deck for everybody else. Something else that is something to watch at for this year's race is we are trending towards, according to Doug Bowles and everybody else over there at 16th and Georgetown, a sellout.
Yep.
Which is good news for my dad, so he won't complain about not being able to watch the race on TV. He's been listening to it, even though he's like, Jake does such a great job. Okay, Dad, great. He says that about this show, too. But that would obviously be the first sellout since the 2016 race.
Yeah, and I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're a couple thousand away.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, if you would have told me in 2016, hey, take a bet, you could take, is there going to be a race sellout, or you could take 10 grand right now? I would absolutely take the 10 grand, right? I thought 2016 was the pinnacle, and then it was just going to slowly kind of do
I think
this.
a lot of people thought that, yeah.
Yeah.
Kudos to them for keeping it up, right?
Unbelievable. Really, really unbelievable. We have our Winner's Drink Milk winner of the week to get to, but first let's get to another timeout, and when we come back, we will give another award plus quick hits, maybe the return of Mike Woodson. Not in Bloomington. Thank God for Sean. We'll come back with more next. It's Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network.
At Bailey.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Welcome back. It's Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network, presented by Bailey Wood Financial Group. Time for our American Dairy Association of Indiana Winners Drink Milk winner of the week. Winnersdrinkmilk.com for our friends and the tremendous dairy farmers that they represent all through the state of Indiana. We can't wait. The fastest rookie luncheon is in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
The race is 2 weeks from Sunday.
Yeah.
The race.
Yeah.
The race.
Yeah.
The 500.
The best.
It's 2 weeks from Sunday. How's that possible? I don't like it that it's early this
May,
year.
and then
I don't like that it's early this year. I also don't like, and I understand, beggars can't be choosers a little bit with the schedule, not to be mean. I don't like having any other race in May. As far as Barber.
Yeah, I don't disagree with
the
that.
Grand Prix is fine, but I thought it was weird that they were at Barber this week. And Barber's a great event. That's become like
it is.
That's become an event that people actually like and look forward to.
But I agree with you that it does feel like when you turn May 1st.
Yeah, it should be all 500 after that.
That's correct.
But thank you to Brooke and her amazing team over there. We're going to get to see all of them. Allie, the whole crew, Jenny, the whole crew over there at American Dairy Association of Indiana. They've always been great supporters of us and the show, and they appreciate our talent and our wit.
No.
And that's the reason why they keep inviting us back to MC events, because we are just so funny and engaging and handsome and famous. And
do you know how hard it would be to eat
all those things?
Do you know how hard it would be to eat a banana, a couple cups of spinach, a couple hard-boiled eggs after you've run?
That'd be hard, yeah.
After you've worked out.
Yeah, I've tried that before.
You could just drink chocolate milk, the ultimate refreshment, which has as much
Why mess with it?
vitamin A as spinach, as much protein as you get in hard-boiled eggs, as much potassium as you get in bananas. So all there in the ultimate refreshment after a workout, chocolate milk. Milk, of course, goes without saying. You get your calcium, your vitamin D with milk as well. Winners drink milk, the greatest tradition of all of sports.
The best. Winner of the week for me, the road teams. All of them. Denver won game 1. New York won game 1. Pacers won game 1. Who am I missing? Who's the other game 1 that is left?
Did you say Denver?
Golden State, and that's tonight, right? It's Golden State tonight.
Golden State, Minnesota, right?
Yeah, Golden State, Minnesota is the other one. That's tonight. Of the 3 series that have played so far, 3 for 3 on road game 1 winners. How about Jokic last night too? What do you have? 42 and
42 and 22, but they needed a game winner from Aaron Gordon to do it, right?
I think it
was impressive.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is an unbelievable player, and in just about any other year, he should be MVP. But we can't vote on MVP based on fatigue. I can't say that you are not the most valuable player in the league because I am tired of you being the most valuable player in the league. That cannot be my argument. It can't be. That's just me. Now, I'm not a voter, and I can't dictate what other people are going to do. But as much as I want to vote for SGA, I really do, and the Thunder had an unbelievable season, and he is a tremendous young player. I think it's malpractice to not vote for Jokic. That's how good he's been.
Yeah,
he is. What is Denver without him?
Correct. They win 40 games, right?
Yeah, maybe. He's just unbelievable. The way that he just kind of almost silently dominates games. He's a unique player in NBA history. I mean, Jake, he's becoming. He's like creeping up towards like the top 10 or 15 players ever. I'm serious. Like that's how good he is.
I believe that. Yeah. My winner of the week?
But the road winners, and a fabulous win for the Knicks. The Knicks are a difficult team to watch at times because Brunson is foul baiting, and I don't know. They just are. The Knicks are kind of annoying. But that's a great win for them in Boston, a team that dominated them all year long.
And to come back the way they did.
Yeah, and to come back the way that they did for sure. And then we already talked about the Pacers. I mean, just the confidence level, the vibes are just immaculate right now for that team.
Do you want to know my winner of the week?
Yeah.
Vince, let's see the photo that I sent. You're going to disagree. There we go. Right there.
Jake Query, the winner of the week. Jake Query selects Jake Query
Hell yeah.
as the winner of the week because you ran the Mini and you didn't die.
Correct.
Yeah, your heart didn't give out.
That's right.
Is that your guy Mottman?
That's Mottman,
Yeah. I like those shorts. Mottman shorts. Kind of like the matte gray. Those are kind of cool. Yeah.
Very
but he's still in his 30s, right? He's a younger dude.
Yeah, he's 38.
Yeah, okay.
38.
Does it make you feel bad? I mean, you're sitting next to one, but does it make you feel bad sometimes that you're like, you look at somebody that's younger and you're like, man, he's like better than or more accomplished than me, or like more people know him than me? Does that cross your mind sometimes?
No, hold on. Can you bring the photo back up? You used to make fun of me for my attire.
No, that looks okay now. That looks okay. I made fun of you the one year where you had the straight, like, you had like a straight, like, Ja Rule do-rag on.
Well, it's the same.
With the flow in the back.
That's the exact same one.
Yeah, but you have a bandana, and I can't see the do-rag attachment on the back. And then I think your shorts were a lot baggier. You got lighter shorts. I mean, those still need to be probably like 9s, and those look like maybe 11s. Because the shorter shorts like Mottman, where you got to show a little more thigh. The women like more thigh. So I show, see, like those shorts, well, those are straight cargo pants. That's me and my mom 25 years ago.
You have on a backwards visor.
Yep, backwards visor.
Your pants
earrings.
Your pants are 3 sizes
sideburns.
too long, which means they're a 26.
Pack of Camel Lights right here in the pocket.
Does she know that?
No, probably not.
At least the shoes you're wearing are kind of.
I got fresh Adidas. Yeah, I got fresh Adidas there. That was August of 2001. August of 2001. That was my first time stepping on campus at IU. I'd never stepped on campus before.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody.
You weren't terrified?
Oh no, I was amazed. I was so happy to be on my own. I just wanted to get out. I wanted to go somewhere where no one knew my name. No one knew that I got pinned by a girl.
I wonder why you were so eager.
No one
to put
knew
the
that I
past
threw
behind
up at the 8th grade dance. Like no one knew any of that. No one knew that I smashed their mailbox. Like no one knew any of that stuff.
How long did it take for him to figure that out?
Yeah, it was great. It was. I mean, non-James and Ashley and non-James and Ashley memory division. The first like 6 weeks that I were at IU is one of the best 6 weeks of my entire life. It was amazing.
Okay.
I loved every second of it.
What's the girl's name you met?
Ann. Yeah.
She
First
dumped you,
night.
right?
I was like, wow, this is like Van Wilder. This is amazing. Yeah. Okay. And then she was like, hey, like, I don't want to be tied down the entire time in college. And I was like, if you're the one tying me down, then I'll be tied down the entire time in college. I don't know. She thought, no, let's not do that. So that was that.
Like BDSM
no,
stuff?
I'm just
or
kidding.
what's going
I'm
on?
messing around. I'm messing around, yeah.
What dorm did you live in?
Right quad, baby. We were sandwiched in between 2 all-girl floors. And there were no, like, key cards. You know, this was, like, right before 9/11. So she would just come downstairs, and we basically lived together in the dorm. The RA would do their sweeps at 9:30, and then it was lights out at, like, 11, basically. But they would do the last sweep at 9:30, and then she'd come down the stairs at 9:35.
Lights out at 11. What if you had to study?
Well, lights out was like not lights out, quiet time. They had quiet hours.
Okay.
So after 11 o'clock, like no loud music, and you had to have your door shut. So don't open the door and play, Nintendo, because we used to just put RBI baseball on like full volume.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The background of any great dorm.
Oh, it was the best. Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yep.
dun, 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 dun.
Best game that there was. Best game that there was. So I had a lot of fun, and it was just cool, Jake. Like you and I
What was the music when somebody was on bass, though?
Yeah. Wait, that's the beginning.
That's right.
Yep. You and I are outside of RBI baseball. We're not similar in a lot of ways, but one area where we are similar is that I just didn't, even though my core group of friends in Connecticut were very important to me, I didn't want to hang out with the same people my whole life. Like part of the reason that I wanted to go to IU is that I wanted to experience something different. I wanted to meet new people. I love meeting new people. Like my wife is terrified of meeting new people. Like I love that, and I know you do as well. So that's like one area where I think we're really similar. Well, you met me, and then we became best friends. And it's one of the world's greatest love stories, which we just discussed.
No, it's not.
Show.
It's not.
One of the world's greatest. Time for quick hits. Mike Woodson might return to coaching.
It's just an NBA job, right?
Yeah.
I didn't see which
with a franchise that we were
Hold
just
on.
talking about.
I didn't see which organization.
Oh, I think I just spoiled it.
Sacramento?
Yeah. Doug Christie's staff, Sacramento. According to Sam Amick of The Athletic, one of the targets for the Kings, so who knows. 67 years old, but he had spent the previous quarter century before the job as an NBA coach with the – can you name all the – I couldn't. I mean, there are a couple of obvious ones, but can you name all the teams that Mike Woodson was a assistant with? There were two that I didn't get.
Okay, Atlanta?
Yep.
New York?
Yep. He was also a head coach with both of those teams.
Okay. Orlando?
No. Two other Central Division teams.
Really? The Pistons?
Pistons, or three other Central Division teams. So I got the Pistons, but the other two I didn't get.
The Bulls?
No.
The
There's
Bucks?
only two more. Bucks and Cavs? Did you know that?
No.
Bucks and Cavs?
No.
And then he was most recently with the Clippers.
Okay.
Well, he went to the Clippers, and then he went back to the Knicks, I think, for a season or two, and then took the IU job. But good for him. I mean, I think Indiana wanted to pretend like, and Woodson wanted to pretend like he was stepping down and retiring. I think we all know that's not what that was.
Yeah.
That's not what that was. I think they got in a room and they said, look, this isn't working. And Woodson probably had his fill anyway.
Kind of like how we retired from the radio station.
Yeah, it didn't sound like Woodson was real happy with where things were either. So I'm not trying to say that it wasn't like a two-way thing. I think it was kind of a two-way thing, but I think they tried to sell it as a retirement, and I never thought that it was really a retirement. Did you see Greg Popovich? That was kind of cool. The media availability, that was neat. First
Great
time that
coach.
he had talked since suffering a stroke about 6 months ago, and he came up there with Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and had a shirt that said El Jefe on it because he's still going to be the team president of the organization. But great guy, and ties to Indiana, right? Maryville, East Chicago.
Great coach, one of the best.
Even though if you're tied to Indiana, the one that is like the loosest tie is like that area up there, because I feel like those people connect more with Chicago than they do with Indiana.
Yeah.
I don't think they look at themselves as like Hoosiers.
Does Chicago claim that, though? Is Chicago,
Probably not.
Chicago and Greg Popovich?
Probably not.
Right.
Yeah, probably not when it comes to that. But good for Greg Popovich. And then this GM craze. Like, everybody's got a GM now. College teams have GMs.
Of course.
Like Andrew Luck is
Andrew Luck was like the first one to do this, right?
Shaq is going to be GM.
San Jose State, right?
Sacramento State.
Sacramento State,
which
sorry.
apparently has like big money and like.
But who is it that's coaching?
Well, Frank Reich, right?
No, hold on.
For Luck?
No, at Sacramento State.
Oh, Mike Bibby, right?
Mm-hmm. And then their football team is also led by somebody, right?
Maybe.
Or San Jose State.
San Jose State was talked about with.
Is Michael Vick coaching somewhere?
Somebody. I think he's down in Virginia, though, isn't he?
That may be right.
Let's look. Sacramento State head football coach. Sacramento State head football coach is Brennan Marion.
No, who am I thinking of? Look up San Jose. No.
San Jose State head football coach is. Oh, the guy from Navy, Ken Numialatolo.
Who is Sacramento State's basketball coach?
Sacramento State. No, it's Mike Bibby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
That's what you're thinking of? He's all.
Yeah, he's jacked,
He's all
right?
swole, yeah. Which I always try to, if I really like lifted, then I would be like that because my body just responds to it. I don't know what it is. It's just crazy. But I try to limit. No, I never take. This is all natural, baby. A lot of chocolate milk.
Okay. I'm not looking at the way your lip trembles is a little embarrassing.
There's no lip tremble.
Mike Vick is coaching at Norfolk State.
Yeah, I knew he was in Virginia somewhere.
I don't know why I was thinking out west. But
yeah. I feel like he's a guy that remember, like, it was so toxic. You say the name Mike Vick and people just be like repulsed. Ugh! And I think for the most part, there are some people that have never forgiven him, but for the most part, I think he's done well for himself, right? He rehabilitated himself.
I would agree.
I don't know him personally. I don't see him every day, but it seems at least publicly he's been remorseful and learned.
I would agree with that.
I mean, it basically ruined his on-field career for the most part, but he was such an icon to so many kids that grew up wanting to play in the NFL. I mean, Mike Vick had every bit the star power that, like, Kobe Bryant had. Like, that's how big of a deal he was. To people, even if, the on-field accomplishments weren't quite to that level. We come back, Biter Bowl Bleep, and we will wrap it up. It's Corey and Schultz. I don't know why I made that sound.
Yeah, it's weird.
ISC Sports Network. Sound like a helicopter.
Hey, AC, which games we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in, it's going to be a long night.
Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do. From Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.
Hey, AC,
Nice snap.
mortgages in a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Back for a final time here on Corey and Schultz, presented by Bailey and Wood. Thanks to our great crew, Vince and Sean. Well, not really Sean, but Vince and Charlie.
Sean,
and
for
Ray.
cleaning up after you?
I guess so. But they're really busy right now, which is a good place to be for ISC. There is no off season for them anymore, unlike when I worked there. And they're always, jumping through hoops for us. And this has been a difficult stretch of shows because the Pacers the playoff schedule has been locked in on Tuesdays and they've been playing every Tuesday. And we really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this show because we know the timing is not great.
That's true.
Running it earlier and remembering what time it is and still supporting and commenting and liking and subscribing and doing all of that, or even listening to it after the fact, because we know that some of you are going to be listening to this or watching this right now after Game 2 has already happened. So, we appreciate you letting us talk about hot dogs and stuff that isn't time-sensitive on this program. And again, a thank you to all of our great sponsors, including Chateau Kitchens, at Chateau Kitchens on Instagram.
You sounded
and
like
Facebook,
the
before and after.
cash cab guy right there.
Well, I remember because I'm the one that kind of brought Chateau to the show because they were doing work with us. And I remember the first time that we did it, you asked me off the air, you're like, hey, is it Chateau? And I'm like, no, it is not. It's not Chateau.
Remember I told you
It's Chateau Kitchen.
A guy from high school asked him where he was going to dinner for prom, and he said Chateau Normandy. I said I think it's Chateau Normandy.
Yeah, we don't have to. Yeah, I mean this is a state that has Rocheville. Okay, like we don't have to high class it up when it comes to this. But high classing it up is what Chateau Kitchens will do to your home, whether it be a bathroom remodel, a kitchen. Hell, you want a wet bar? They do some sick wet bars sometimes with their renovations as well. Anything on the interior of your home with our friends at Chateau Kitchens, chateaukitchens.com. But check out those before and after pictures. You don't even have to take my word for it. It's like, what was that, Reading Rainbow? Where it's like, don't take my word for it, where the kid would point to the screen. You want to read butterfly in the sky. I can fly twice as high.
I had Free to Be You and Me in Schoolhouse Rock.
You have Reading Rainbow with a crossover?
Did it?
I can go anywhere. Friends to know and ways to grow. A Reading Rainbow. That was right. That would have been like 80. Actually, you know what? That would have been like 80, 88, 89. So you would have been at like high school by then.
Are free to be.
Yeah.
You and don't.
Schoolhouse Rock, was that you, or is that
Yeah.
even before you?
Schoolhouse
Okay,
Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock was in your wheelhouse. So you're more 70s. I was
I'm
more
just a
80s
bill.
when it came to
Only
that.
a bill.
Statement number 1. The Pacer season is a success no matter what happens from here at Biter Bowl Bleep.
Yeah, I mean, I'll buy it because it's got, the city's galvanized. They're excited. It's fun. You see the blueprint. Maybe you need one more piece there. I'll say yes.
How about this?
Bye.
And this is a cop-out. It can't be regarded a failure now,
Right.
right? Like, even if the Pacers were to lose in 6 games or something, I don't think that the season could be regarded as a failure. They're a better team than they were last year. Doesn't matter what happens in this series. Doesn't matter if they don't go as far as they did last year, because the Cavs are better than last year's Knicks. But this year's Pacers are better. And this year's Bucks were better than last year's Bucks, and the Pacers beat them. So I just think everything has ticked up. So all you can ask for is that your team improve every year and the path stays linear towards a championship, right? And it's stayed linear, even if they get eliminated this round. So, yeah, I guess I'll buy it as well. You already answered this question. We will see an Indianapolis 500 sellout this year.
I buy it.
Yeah. I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
Just listen to it on the radio regardless.
Again, my PSA, and I'll probably repeat this again, not everyone can attend this race. So I want people to listen carefully. Not everyone can attend this race. So the people that are like, if you're mad about the blackout, just buy a ticket. There are people that are physically incapable or mentally incapable, and I'm saying this being sensitive to that,
right, I understand
of attending this race. If you don't like crowds, if you deal with anxiety a lot, if you have any sort of physical ailment whatsoever or physical limitation whatsoever, it is very difficult to attend the Indianapolis 500. I am as you guys can see, I am a healthy male that is in prime physical condition, and it is exhausting for me to attend the race. Now, part of that is I'm on my bike for most of the time, but it's tough. And you know, Jake, you know I love the race, right? But
right, I understand.
I mean, if we're being honest, it's the biggest hassle in the world with the
No,
traffic
it's a
and
huge
getting
event.
there
It's
and
a huge event.
everything. Yeah, it's difficult.
I have one for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Bader Bolschultz. The NBA champion will come from a city that has also produced an NFL champion in the 2000s.
Ooh, okay. So Denver, Boston, the Knicks would be in that group. The Pacers would be in that group. Minnesota would not be. Golden State would not be, because we're counting Oakland for Golden State,
Correct.
right?
Oklahoma-
Well, even if we were counting San Francisco, it wouldn't count.
Oklahoma City would not be.
Oklahoma City would not be.
Denver would not be.
Ooh, that's a really good question. Wow. That is your best Bader Bull beef you've ever done on this show. Wow. I don't even know if I'm right. I would lean towards the football city because I still think it's going to be Boston.
That's hard to argue.
Yeah.
Boston or Oak City.
But Boston's been there before. That's why I give them the edge.
Denver?
Yeah. I mean, and Denver, well, yeah. Denver, I'm not entirely sure has the horses outside of
Cleveland?
Jokic, but yeah, Cleveland too. But I still think it's Denver, so I'm going to say buy it. But that's an excellent question. Excellent question. Really good.
I just came up with that right there.
Thank you to our excellent sponsors as well that make this show excellent. Excellent. Chateau Kitchens. Thank you to them. Thank you to Bailey & Wood Financial Group, the presenting sponsor of this show. Thank you to Hoagies and Hops and Chili Water Tap Room. We love them. And our friends at American Dairy Association of Indiana, winnersdrinkmilk.com. For Jake, I'm Derek. Probably another Tuesday show next. I don't know. We'll let you know. Stay tuned. It's Corey and Schultz. Bye.
At an Indiana dairy farm, long workdays stretch into more labor after sunset. A newborn calf needs watching. Barn needs cleaning. Tractor needs some handiwork for tomorrow's tasks. Just like in your own home, the day's chores are never done until the family beds down for the night. Dairy farmers and their families share the same dream with all of us, that what we all do is worthwhile. Bringing to market pure, safe, and healthy dairy foods is what they do, from Indiana's dairy families to ours every single day. Learn more at winnersdrinkmilk.com.